Page. We can always hold that.
Oh boy. Oh, it's a screen share. Okay.
Yeah, I get it right. Oh, I really love to do much. Oh, we got the information on the slide. Good to see everybody back. Good to see you all. We mute you. Oh, wait, I'm definitely.
Oh.
We got the slides now.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I'm horrible at technology. If you're figure this out yet. I'll figure it out. Ryan, do the introductions today.
So our guest speaker is Emily. Bridgeport Islanders now. Yeah, she's here to talk to us and tell us what she does every day. And, you know, if we have questions for her, feel free to ask. So we'll let Emily talk.
Okay. Sorry, the audio keeps muting. So I'm Emily. I graduated in 2020. During the COVID year was my senior year. So I was actually a marketing major, and I did all my internships through the athletic communications office. I don't know who's still there. I think Kyle is still there. So I worked hockey as my main sport. It was the most fun. I also did soccer, lacrosse, a little bit of basketball. And then when I graduated, I actually got an internship at Hot Corner Athletics. It's a baseball training facility in Buffalo. Wasn't a huge fan of baseball, so I went on Teamwork Online, which is a great website if you're looking for any sort of sports job. You can do college, professional. You can even work at like private high schools in Florida, like different training facilities. Got a job in Iowa last year. I was in Coralville, Iowa. The University of Iowa is 5 minutes down the road. So I was a part of the Wave. It's a big football town. That was in the ECHL. It's fun, but it's chaotic. It was fine, but I was ready to get back to the East Coast. And then Bridgeport had an opening. We used to be called the Sound Tigers, if anyone's familiar. So here I'm an account exec. I basically do all the sales, but I also help out with community events. That's just where I have the most fun. The good part about being a account exec is you get to try out everything. So if you're into premium sales, you can work under the premium guy. If you're into game ops more, you can always shadow the game ops person and talk to them while you're in the office. I like sales. It's fun. It can be challenging. I was telling Dr. Rodi today that I had a wonderful lady scream at me, but the biggest takeaway is don't take anything personally. people want to be mean, that's fine. I still have a lot of fun. There's still a lot of super nice people. I spent Thanksgiving and Christmas with some of my ticket members last year. So it's really awesome. It's definitely a family culture. I don't think I'm missing anything. It's pretty much a quick summary of who I am, and what I do.
What questions do you guys have for her as she gets going here? Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about Bridgeport, their numbers, what they hold?
Yes. Yeah. Did you hear Professor Gentile?
No, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Can you talk about like the numbers and stuff at Bridgeport, like how many ticket holders,
Capacity,
capacity, that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Sorry, excuse me. So Bridgeport holds about 9,000 for hockey. I think the full capacity for other sports is about 10,000, but it's really about 9,000, including suites and the general bowl. We have just 100 levels, and then we have 2 layers of suites. We have terrace suites, which are kind of like a bar stool kind of thing with little dividers. And then we have like the real suites that you're used to technically on the 3rd level. Bridgeport has struggled in the past couple years. COVID certainly didn't help us, but this is my first season, so I'm not quite sure right now. We're at about 400 full season tickets, and probably about another 500 in partial plans. And then that does include sponsors. So a lot of our sponsors, we want tickets. So they have a suite, or they have full season tickets, or we call them flex vouchers. They're just little undated tickets that you can redeem at any game. So you can not plan ahead. Some people don't like to plan ahead what they're doing. So you can just show up at the game and redeem your tickets then. We offer, so Sacred Heart men's hockey currently plays here, but they're building their own facility. They close off the section, so I don't think they really hold more than a couple thousand. For concerts, I believe it's still around 9,000. In Iowa, we only held about 5,000. It was a sellout. Realistically, you don't sell out a lot. Iowa, we only sold out once. Here, I think playoffs was our most popular. Usually you see half capacity, even like a third. So usually around like 3,000 that you're doing a pretty good job. The way our arena is built, it doesn't seem as big as it is. So when you only have about 3,000, 4,000 people, it doesn't look too scarce. It looks still pretty full, and not everyone is sitting on top of each other. And so it's a pretty nice arena. It's kind of, the Bridgeport arena is old. They haven't really done too many updates. They're updating it this year. But in Iowa, it was a brand new facility. So there is some contrast to what's new, what's different. Not too much. It's really just the quality of, the paint on the wall. And here there's a lot of wood paneling, which you don't really see a lot anymore.
Questions? Other questions? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Now, Bridgeport, the arena, is the hockey team a tenant? They don't own it, right?
Yeah, so we're the primary tenant, so we get priority over like Sacred Heart concerts. They work around us, which is also different than Iowa, where we were the 3rd level tenant. So we had to move around the university, where here, like our practice time just changed and we had to work around them. They kind of get first priority over, like we have our designs on the wall. Sacred Heart is only allowed to have banners and stuff, where we have full murals. So it looks like we own the arena, and our owners are very close with the city. So we definitely get a lot of priority. We get invited to certain business councils. One thing I do really like here is they're very in tune with the community and local businesses, which is crucial because they also help you boost new fans, and people really appreciate when you're in the community. That's why I personally love working community events, is I get a lot of my sales through meeting people. I get sent my leads you don't get too much. You really have to be out there working, and it's so easy when you're just in the community. We do giveaways, all that good stuff. But since we're the main tenant, we can host whatever we want. We could do a kickoff dinner, a player meet and greet, which makes my job easier because it makes our fans happier.
Do you only sell tickets or there separate sponsorship people, or do you sell both?
So at my old team, I was full menu. That means I could sell whatever I want. So in a smaller team, usually you do everything. I still do everything here, but I just say there's more rules. So in Iowa, I sold sponsorships. They weren't huge sponsorships, but thousands of dollars still. So I did sponsorships. I mainly focused around different events. So I ran a Pick the Rink was one of my big games. So I sold sponsorships for that. You can sell groups, you can sell ticket packages. Here, it's a little more strict, but I'm allowed to sell a suite. I just have to also loop in our premium sales guy. Groups, we stay pretty separate just because we have so much more inventory, so it's hard to balance. Groups are usually a couple hundred. We try to push for a couple hundred people in groups per night. I would say I'm not full menu here, but they're lenient. So I can't be taking my time to sell a suite when I'm supposed to be selling like a full season or a partial plan. But if it comes across, if I have a connection with someone, I don't have to give up my lead to basically give someone else free money on their commission.
You ever find yourself in a conflict position with the arena? You know, in terms of products, you know, or advertisers, public, the arena might, they might be selling Coke and you've got to deal with Pepsi. How does that, do you ever have conflicts that way? How do those work, you know?
Here we all have a pretty good relationship. It's a little different here. So there's actually the New York Islanders, it's smart. So they half employ someone from the Islander side and they half employ someone from the arena side. So Oakview Group is a huge arena owner. They own the new Coachella building. They bought while I was there in Iowa, our Iowa building. They run everything. And so we have a tremendous relationship with them. The GM of the arena is very helpful towards us. He gives us free tickets to other events. He says, if me giving you Trippy Red is coming. So he's like, if you need Trippy Red tickets and you think that'll really help a relationship, he's totally fine giving us it for free, which is very rare. You won't see that at a lot of arenas. We haven't run into too much. I think there's some issues when it comes to taking care of the ice. I think it's kind of a battle of who's going to hire to take care of the ice, where in Iowa, Oakview Group just hired everyone, where here they kind of want us to pay them. So right now we're having a little bit of trouble hiring like ice techs for during the game, but not too much. Us being here helps them a lot. Bridgeport isn't a terrible area, but it's not the best area. And so the Islanders put in a lot of money to help the city kind of make it a more attractive area. So we kind of have a very good 50-50 relationship where we don't battle each other a lot, where in Iowa, we weren't allowed to have signs on our building, so no one even knew where we were. We weren't allowed to have posters in our arena. We weren't allowed to park in certain areas, where here we have designated parking. So it definitely shows when you have a bad relationship and a good relationship, but luckily here we work very well together with the actual arena.
Thank you. Okay, well, jump in.
What does your day look like?
So off season, So in the summer, we get every Friday off to kind of make up for those in-game hours, and it's a lot slower from right after playoffs in June to early August. I do a 9 to 5. I come in, I kind of dilly-dally, I make my coffee. I have a list of people I need to follow up with, list of new people. Sometimes it's helping out with a community event. So sometimes, especially in the summer when there's not too much to do, I'll spend the day, we go to Oyster Fest, which is kind of just like a summer fair. I went to a boat show, a dog adoption festival. So just all little festivals. We like to get out and volunteer and just kind of get out of the office. Here, it's kind of up to my discretion. If I want to take off for a day and leave something, it's kind of my fault if I miss it, but most of the time I make my own schedule. I have goals to hit. So I'm supposed to hit 50 calls, 100 emails, and like 20 texts. Right now we're in a rebuilding stage, so they understand if we are not hitting those goals, as long as we're still bringing in money at the end of the day. They care about the revenue. If I make 10 calls, but I bring in $5,000, I'm not going to get in trouble for not hitting those call goals, because at the end of the day, I'm still bringing the same amount of money. There's definitely some lenience. I know, like applying for jobs, it's a little daunting when you see the requirements. Rule number one, applying for a job, you don't need to actually have every requirement. When I first started in Iowa, I was applying to everything, even though I was like, I'm not even qualified. And then when you call them, you realize that they don't care that you don't have already a year, 2 years of sales experience. This job required 3 to 5 years of sales experience, and I got it with 1. So it just kind of depends on your personality. For me, I do my best work in front of people, and they know that. So if I'm out and about at a community event, I get way more lead generation that way than if I was to cold call people, especially in all the spam calls, spam texts now. People don't want to pick up a spam risk call. They rather just meet you at a festival and talk. Game day is tough, I will be honest. Sometimes it's not fun. So we go 9 to 5 and then full game day. Sometimes there's a little leniency, usually you won't. So those can be a little long, but teams provide dinner, you get a break. Usually on game day, you're not fully hustling in the office. You're just kind of waiting around for people to call and ask for if they want extra tickets, or they're confused, or we can sell single game buyers. We don't get commission on them. They're used for leads. So sometimes we get a few stragglers just calling to skip ticket fees. But usually game day office work is not very strict. Like, we're not supposed to hit goals on a game day. We're not expected to fully work and do the game day. So on game days, we have a ticket table where people can come up to us. A lot of times we're hanging on to a little giveaway for someone. We can walk the concourse. Seat visits, I'm 50-50 on. Some people will say, come say hi to me at my seat. Most of the time, people kind of give you a funny look. You're like, why are you here? Like, go away. It's the middle of the game. So sometimes you do a seat visit. Most of the time, people will just come up to you in a concourse. If it's a special game, we might be in charge of a certain task. Like if we're giving away an item, or if it's someone's birthday, if one of your ticket holders' birthdays, you're kind of in charge of bringing them down or kind of handling that birthday. Most birthdays are our group rep, unless we go have that connection. Yeah, usually on game day, we're kind of running around, putting out fires. Usually I sneak and I definitely watch some of the game, but most of the time game days are fun because you kind of stand around and have conversations with people.
Other questions? Yes.
You were talking about like the community events and stuff. How often per week would you say you spend outside of the office working?
So I started in August. I started a little late. but I would say almost every week, there was something else. Our director of community events, he's really good at showing up to everything. So definitely in the summer, you'll get out of the office a lot. And I kind of expressed that I wanted to do more. So I got to work an all-day golf tournament. It was the most fun I've had here. It was a charity event. It was one of our charities. They did a event at a golf club. So they said, why don't you set it up on a hole, give away some stuff, just kind of hang out and be there. So we weren't fully selling there. We were basically there to hang out and give away like koozies and hats and chirp the golfers. One of the guys let me play the hole for him. I'm terrible at golf. So it's fun to just kind of hang out. So that was my reward for doing all of like the super hot, boring events. But most of them, usually in the summer, there's always somewhere. Where we're located, there's so many different cities and towns right around Bridgeport. I live in Milford. There's a ton of little pockets, so there's always something to do. And if we find our own event, we are more than welcome to either talk to Sam or just go ourselves. So if you personally get invited to like a end of school year party, you're allowed to go. For bigger events, we usually have to talk with Sam, who's our community guy. But if we think there's value there, we're allowed to go. Most of the time you have to pay a little or get permission to show up, but it's super easy. Everyone around here loves us, so they welcome us anywhere we want.
Other questions? Can you think of anything else that you wish you would have known when you were in their shoes?
Ooh. I would say try to like volunteer and get as much experience as you can. I sacrificed many weekends. I started a little late getting into sports, late as in I was halfway through my sophomore year, I think. But I tried to sign up for everything. Definitely advocate for yourself. I know towards my junior and senior year, I didn't take no for an answer. I ended up working the Frozen Four when it was here. I got to work World Juniors when it was here. So definitely always push to just have fun. Like Frozen Four was so much fun to work. And then kind of, I mentioned before, applying for jobs, apply to everything. I even applied to jobs I knew absolutely I did not want, but it's interview experience and you get an idea of what teams most interest you. When I was looking to get out of Iowa, I probably interviewed for 50 to 60 teams. It was crazy for about a month. I was having almost 2 interviews a day. I probably applied to 200 jobs. I even still get rejection notices for jobs I applied for last year. Some jobs just don't tell you yes or no. Some jobs tell you if they're going to pass or if you got the job. I definitely wanted to move up. The ECHL is fun. It's only fun for a year. Other teams are better. Iowa, not my favorite. But when I was interviewing, I kind of knew what I was looking for. Definitely be yourself 100% in interviews. When I was first interviewing right out of college, I was trying to be very cookie cutter, almost tried too hard to like fit all the requirements. Usually they can tell, or if you're too good at kind of just trying to fit the mold and you show up and you're not the person you were in the interview, usually that doesn't go well. So I'm very much myself. I always say I'm a little crazy. I say what I want. But people know what they're getting, and I fit this team so well. We all get along. We're all the same person. We all have the same work ethic, but it took 30 plus interviews. I interviewed for the Vegas Silver Knights, and that job is intimidating. So I don't have to work all arena events. I just work for my team. Vegas, you work almost every single day. You work every event that that arena hosts. You're in a basement with 15 other people. There's no windows. You're grinding. They're strict on their requirements. And I was like, that's not how I work. I take my time. I walk around. There's not a lot of chit chat in certain businesses. We're here, like we talk, we goof around, and then we still get our job done. But I personally don't work in an environment where it's very strict. I need a little bit of leniency. That's where I do my best work. And I'm very open with that. So when I talk to these teams, I say, you know, this is how I work. This is my opinion on what works. Some teams say that's not our style, but, you know, add us on LinkedIn. You never know what else we'll need. But I definitely found way more success and more yeses when I just was genuinely myself. I mean, still stay professional. Don't be like swearing and, you know, still keep it professional. But I say just be yourself. A lot of teams, you know, you won't match. Like I know like how I like to be managed. I don't like a very strict, like cold manager where some people, they don't mind just not being talked to. Like our vice president comes down every day. A lot of teams, just their selling style too. To me, community comes first. I'm not gonna cheat you just to get a sale. I treat everyone like they're my friend. And a lot of these teams, they just want very in and out sales, just kind of get them in the door, then kind of neglect them and just keep working on new sales, where I take the time to really get to know all my ticket members. And I've gotten so many upsells. I've gotten money. I've gotten Christmas cards, birthday cards. It really pays off in the end when you take that extra couple minutes to just have a little conversation with them, remember the little details about their family or, you know, what their favorite things are. Some teams don't really care if you get to know your members or not. It just matters the numbers. So if you're a numbers person, that's totally fine. But for me, that's not my style. I'll take the time to talk to you, get to know you, and in the end, it pays off because I had the most renewals at my last team. I had the highest revenue. I always tell, when I had this interview, I say, I start out slow. Once people get to know me, then my numbers double because then they're bringing their families out, they're bringing their friends out. So it really pays off because you got to play the long game. The person I replaced, the short game, and I'm catching all the heat for it. So it pays off to be a genuine person. And it's easy to get them in the door, but to keep them is the hardest part, I think.
Do you have any advice on moving far away for a while, at least for a job or two, and then coming back to where you want to be?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, my mentality, I'm close to my parents, and they said, it's year. If you hate it, you can leave. So I had that mentality. You know, Iowa wasn't for me. I think it was tough because I moved with a broken leg. I broke my leg and I got the job, and I put the pressure on myself that I had to take it. It was fine because actually 2 Niagara players signed with our team after I got hired, and one of our other players played for our biggest rival who was right down the road. So once they were there, I felt a little more comfortable. You spend so much time with the people you work with, you guys will become friends. I think, I don't know, I I didn't really have any outside friends in Iowa. I think that kind of gets a little lonely. But here I get along better just naturally. So like the girls I work with already invite me to hang out with their friends. You kind of make friends that way. But definitely don't put too much pressure on yourself to take a job. If you have any kind of hesitation, I would honestly say don't, because you don't want to be stuck in a place where you want to come home 24/7. Iowa did have its perks. I did have fun. Living out there for a year was fun. But it's just not my style. The driving is not my jam. Some people love to move away. If I was in Utah, I mean, they have crazy facilities out there for their ECHL team. They're in a gorgeous city. So I definitely, if you are planning to move far away, definitely just look at the surrounding area. I always ask to talk to the other people I'm going to be hired with. Usually I try to find a girl. Luckily, our office is actually a lot of girls, where my old office was mostly guys. So usually they tell it to you straight. Like when I moved here, they were like, absolutely do not live in Bridgeport. Live in a suburb, live in Milford. I live right on the beach. It's crazy. I live in a little beach town, and it's good because sports is chaotic. I don't want to go home to chaos. Like, I'm not a city person at all. So Bridgeport also was perfect for me because I technically work in a city, but I don't live there. Another big job I was close to taking was in St. Louis for the St. Louis Blues. And when I was there, I could not see myself living there. The city traffic, I'm a terrible driver. Like, the city traffic is crazy. The area I didn't love, I just didn't feel at home. So if you have the opportunity to go and visit in person, or it's already a city you're familiar with, that's great. My uncle's from Connecticut. I love the New England area. Like Boston is my favorite city. So I knew that I would be more comfortable on the East Coast just because I have more family. Some people are okay kind of traveling all over. I didn't discover that I wanted to stay so close to the East Coast until I left. It still was a great experience. I'm just naturally a more independent person because I'm the middle child. So I always say I'm the forgotten child. So I've always kind of done my own thing. If you're a homebody, don't pressure yourself into moving. But if you're the type of person that loves to get out, do your thing, that's great. Here I can drive home. It's still far enough where I can't go home all the time. But it's close enough where if you're sick, if something happens here, and especially for hockey, you're always going to work Thanksgiving. Most of the time you're working too close to Christmas. So last year I spent Christmas alone. Not the best. This year you take a week off early because we have the game right after Thanksgiving, and then Christmas they give you a couple extra days, and instead of finding a super expensive flight, I just get to drive home.
Other questions? Anybody else have a question? Emily, thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure.
Can I share, they have your email, we have it in our thing that they're gonna get. Can I share your cell phone or is email, or what do you want us to do?
Yeah, cell phone is fine for me.
Okay,
Add me on LinkedIn. I try to post a little bit. That's also a little bit, try to post what you're kind of up to on LinkedIn. Most employers do look at your LinkedIn, so make sure, I know some people I've worked with in the past, they treat LinkedIn like Twitter. No one cares about what you're doing on the weekends or your opinion on what the Chicago Bears are doing this week. But if you have something insightful, like if you want to get into journalism, or if you want to get into social media for a sports team, it's great if you have something professional to say. I like to do is just kind of not too much, but like my Pink the Rink in Iowa was a huge success. I had a lot of fun. It was an achievement. So I posted a picture with the ladies and I just said, it was hard work, but and I kind of gave the little stats. It was the third highest attended game. All of this money is going to this great charity. These are the ladies. You see the faces of the ladies that are benefiting from this. So that is great to post. So if you guys do have some sort of internship, just post a little thing saying like, so happy to be a part of this internship. I can't wait to, learn more about whatever you're interested in. Doing that shows that, you're kind of updating, because employers do like to see if you are active, and kind of what you're up to. So definitely post a couple times on LinkedIn. If you're working a crazy playoff game or a big rival, doing a post like that is cool. Because you never know what profile your name is going to pop up. I have a ton of random people that add me on LinkedIn that are super cool. I have like MBA managers add me on LinkedIn just because they see my post through another like. That's the fairy. I don't know if you guys heard that. But so it's really great because you never know where your LinkedIn is going to pop up. And always add everyone on LinkedIn. Like I have Minnesota VPs, Minnesota Wild VPs. Add everyone you meet. Sometimes they don't add you back, that's fine, but try to add everyone. I'm not the best at it still. I try to remember kind of everyone I meet just to add on LinkedIn, because you never know who else will find your profile. But yeah, I would definitely say make sure your LinkedIn is professional and up to date.
Thank you again so much for joining.
Sure. Yeah. If anyone wants to reach out to me personally, give you advice, I have another girl from a college around here that kind of did the same talk. Even if you want me to go over a job offer with you, I would start looking now, just kind of get an idea of what's available, what kind of role you're looking for. But yeah, if you want to go over a job with me, if you want little pointers, practice interview, maybe even whatever you guys need, feel free to reach out. In season is very busy, but I will still try to, keep up with anyone.
Awesome. Thank you.
Well, for sure.
Bye.
Bye.